Gee, you're a long way away. Come in.
Closer.
Yeah. So, thanks for the warm welcome, and it's really great to be here, and it's a bit of a hard night to be here, but I appreciate everyone coming, and I know the two dedicated artists love you being here as well. And I know a lot of you know these two artists for a long time. I first met Patrick at Manly Art Gallery and Museum when I became director there in 1999. He was a member of the then Peninsular Art Society and had a great personality, very strong. I did happen to witness his Elvis impersonations at one evening, one opening, that he put on specially for the Peninsular Art Society. He had a large and ambitious vision for his work at that time. Manly had already held a solo exhibition of his work titled Gravitas, a survey exhibition in 1995 that showcased his body of work. Catherine Roberts and I, Catherine's still at Manly and the lead curator there, we curated a new solo show in 2002, focused on Sydney Harbour and particularly Luna Park. I think Patrick picked Luna Park to be the subject matter. He was guided by the colour and the mood of Luna Park, and he came up with the title, Luna Park is Yellow. And I remember he painted a gigantic work for that show of the Luna Park site from the harbour, titled Yellow, I think. Is that right?
It took the title from the show, Luna Park is Yellow.
And it was called Yellow. And he documented its progress on video until it was installed.
Right.
It was fantastic. A big vision and lots of bravado, scale and scope. The gallery bought some works for the Manly collection from that show. At the time, we only had $5,000 a year to collect work, so we bought some works on paper, and they were fantastic. They were gestural drawings that were incredibly colourful and energetic, and they went into the collection. Now, his painting technique aligns with artists that achieve the perception of detail, implied through gesture, and integrated with controlled accidents, as you will see in the work around the wall. They're very crisp and really strong compositions. Patrick was born in Bathurst, New South Wales, and is largely self-taught. He has exhibited and travelled widely, drawing inspiration from the built and natural environments in Australia, and of course, but also the Netherlands, France, Ireland, Uruguay, and cities such as Venice and Berlin. He has won many awards in Australia and is represented in many public regional galleries and private collections. The title of this show, Two Visions, implies connection and simultaneously separation. The decision to show together is intriguing. It may be about investigating differences and making time to reconnect as professional artists as well as father and daughter. Two careers in the visual arts in Australia, both indicative of their time and place. A couple of decades separate them, but the drive and commitment from both of them and love of nature and the environment are common ground. Patrick tags himself as a contemporary realist, not bound by fashion. Rachel is a tip off the old block, as she also embraces the artist as environmentalist as her raison d'etre. Rachel is lucky to have had a parent as an artist. As they say, you can't be it unless you see it. I'm sure Rachel would have seen Patrick's watercolours in the collection, as she now works at Manly Art Gallery as a weekend manager and helped organise the Creative Space Studios at Carroll for the Northern Beaches Council. She has forged her own artistic path through curating, accepting and making opportunities to exhibit, entering competitions and hiring exhibition spaces with like-minded artists. Over the years, I've noticed that quite a few of my artist friends have parents as well as their own children who are also artists. While I was still at Manly, two women artists wanted to have shows with their mothers, but they never got round to organising it then. But now I've heard they've got it together. The mother is now in her 90s,
Wow.
so it's never too late. I think the life of an artist is rich, stressful, glorious, punishing, and precarious. But having a parent in the biz can help the next generation stay the course. Just as an aside, I also assist in the archives at the National Art School as a volunteer. And they're possibly planning some exhibitions in the future of the generations of artists that are from the same family who went through the NAS. Sometimes the next generation appears to carry on the family traits, its subject matter or stylistic devices. But in this case, the motivation for Rachel's work is centred around environmental responsibility and finding ways to create awareness of threatened species or regions through her painting practice. She employs subtle and fluid gestural mark making and colours that reflect the nature of her surrounds. However, she does not tie down the image with detail, but keeps it ephemeral and suggestive of something more. I feel.
Thank you.
Rachel has a BFA and an MFA from COFA and has loads of experience in the public gallery sector now, as well as the more alternative practices that artists currently employ to create opportunities for themselves. Social media has affected the art world as much as any other occupation. Gallery visitation is becoming rarer as potential visitors now just look online and, if interested, contact the artists directly. There were never enough galleries to support the number of artists that are in New South Wales. So now many artists don't use galleries at all and just put their work on the internet and sell directly to the customer overseas or here.